This is the Stormy Willow Podcast, a lighthearted, balanced examination of the paranormal.
Ghostbusters, what's your emergency? No, it's not Ghostbusters. It's Stormy Willow here. It's your host, Sarah, along with the greatest sister in the universe, Adele.
I thought you were going to say Slimer.
Slimer, a.k.a. Slimer.
A.k.a. Sarah picking her nose.
It's a nervous thing, a nervous habit. Hello, Adele. Hello, Brood. Happy Friday.
Yay, Friday. And one of the last Fridays in September.
I know. Can you believe that? I feel like September just started and it's over. This is the last week.
Yeah, it didn't last long.
No, it didn't. And we've got the fall equinox tomorrow. And Adele, I'm really glad I get to see you because, it's also probably going to be the end of the world tonight at midnight. I don't know if you're aware.
Oh, is it?
It is.
That's what I tell myself every night before bed.
Don't worry, the aliens are going to come. No, really. So I've got a story for you about September the 23rd. And so this will be a really good test because, our podcast, we record on Friday and it's the 22nd. And all this is supposed to go down at midnight. And then if you hear us on Monday, then it was all a hoax.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar, I'm gonna tell you the story here. This comes from the news.com.pk, and this is a TikTok doomsday clock trend that has the internet guessing if the world is going to end on September the 23rd. And I'm just going to read this article to you if you haven't already heard the news. I know a lot of people haven't. I'm a TikToker, so I've been in the loop.
Yeah, I'm going to take that as most of us have not.
Yeah, don't worry. I've got you covered, guys. So here I'm just going to read this article and then we'll talk about it. So a viral TikTok trend has flooded the internet, showcasing that a possible doomsday may occur on the 23rd of September, 2023. After netizens realized that terrible and tragic happenings in most movies and TV shows have been depicted on the same date. And you might be wondering if The Simpsons is one of them. It is.
Oh. Well, what did The Simpsons say? Cut to the chase.
Well, The Simpsons said nuclear attack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's not fun. I mean,
yeah.
Coming, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the TikTok users published an apocalypse forecast for September the 23rd. He asserted that the internet has been inundated with conspiracies regarding the end of the world on that day. The numerals 9, 2, and 3 have previously made numerous appearances in a variety of television programs and motion pictures. The TikToker then posted a list of films that had horrific events occurring on September the 23rd. They had an asteroid impacting Earth on the specified date. That was actually depicted on The Big Bang Theory. Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, and Deep Impact, among other samples. On the same day, the movie Knowing and the book Little Shop, which is Little Shop of Horrors, depicted the Earth was destroyed by solar flares. Other television programs and motion pictures that use the odd parallels included Evil, Ghostbusters, hence my intro there, and This Is the End, Pandemic, and your favorite movie, Labyrinth, and Lost.
Oh, God. Let's hope it's not like that one.
Let's hope that David Bowie comes back tomorrow. No, that would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
he is God to some people.
Yeah, this is true. And then it gets even stranger, you guys. On September 23rd, a Taco Bell commercial featured a truck escaping a concentration camp. Haven't seen that commercial. Maybe it's in the UK. A Guinness beer commercial stopwatch indicated that one could learn dark secrets if they kept their minds open. And a Black Eyed Peas music video featured the same date. And the film, Don't Worry Darling, was also released on that day. Since then, the conspiracy notion has been widely circulated by online users. At the time this article was written, no official organization had issued a statement announcing an event for the aforementioned day. It's possible that conspiracy theorists are just pointing out coincidences in advertisements, TV, and movies. This is not the first time internet users have planned an cryptolytic event. So if it doesn't get us tomorrow, they're also predicting October 4th that a graphene oxide will take control of American inhabitants. So if not tomorrow,
what the hell did any of that even mean?
October 4th would be the next day. So I will say it's weird, the September 23rd parallel, but me personally, I think it's a coincidence. I think we're going to be just fine. I really do.
Or it's like an inside joke or something.
Yeah.
With like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it is weird, right? But I really think we're going to be fine. But I mean, if you are a doomsday prepper, I don't mean to, rattle your cage or anything, which you're probably feeling really stressed out right now, but it's going to be okay.
Or maybe you're excited. Like maybe this is what you've been preparing for.
I mean, maybe, I don't know, but
yeah,
we'll see. Now, I really kind of went scrolling for you guys. A lot of spiritualists and folks say that it could even be something as subtle as just like a shift in consciousness, perhaps. I don't know. So tomorrow is the equinox, so we will have equal amount of daylight and night and darkness, and it's a really good time to give gratitude. So maybe just take that space tomorrow. If you are feeling any kind of stress, especially if people are, it could be any second now. Maybe just take some time to get grounded and just give gratitude. But yeah, so this has been just a TikTok rabbit hole.
Oh, TikTok.
I know. But there was one really funny TikTok, and I went back to try to find it, and I can't. But it shows an alien invasion, and these aliens are coming down, and they're like, we're coming to take over your government and show you guys how to live in peace. And this guy says, do you think they're going to be disappointed that we're going to actually be like, how can we help? And not scared of them? Now, something like that, I would definitely welcome that. Please let us help. We've been waiting for you.
Yes.
Finally.
Yes, please do.
So maybe tomorrow will be a really good day. I don't know. Maybe nothing will happen at all. It's going to be really funny to listen to this on Monday, because I always listen on Monday mornings. So, it's nice to, it's going to be funny, telling you the story now when it's hours away from happening, and then listening on Monday. So
I do love a reference though to the good old doomsday clock.
Right? Well, you remember Y2K? We were talking about that this morning, and me and my friends were talking about how, it was supposed to be the end. The computers, weren't going to be able to compute. You weren't going to have money. And one of my friends said that her dad got so scared that before midnight, he shut off all the breakers. He was trying to act all calm, don't freak out, you guys. But then before bed, he said, let's go on to bed, and shut the breakers. So I don't know. But I think we're gonna be okay. But the Simpsons got me though. I'm like, guys, I don't like that, guys. It makes me nervous.
Yeah, that's.
And if you haven't listened to our episode, we covered an episode about the Simpsons, and they are pretty spot on. Of course, they claim that I guess I'll give you a spoiler here. The writers say they are just really good at predicting human behavior. It's not some kind of secret. So theirs does make me their prediction tends to make me a little cringy.
Well, it's almost damn, do they have a psychologist working with them? Or one of them should be in that field.
Right.
Not an animator.
I mean, it's pretty crazy the things that they predicted, but it's a great episode. So check that out if you're, maybe waiting with your flashlight and, making sure you have all your canned goods and water supplies where you need them. That's a good one for you to listen to while you can.
Well, I mean, depending on the time zone, I might have even less hours.
Right?
Time will be 10.
Well, listen, yeah. I will be ahead. So maybe I'll reach out at midnight. I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah, give me a heads up.
I'll give you a heads up. I
You're
mean,
still
unless you
there.
want to be like blindly, like you have like just a few hours, get out of there. I got you. Well, so speaking of the forecast and what's to come, I do have a really short and kind of sweet
Oh,
horoscope.
is it short because it's only
It
until
might be short
tonight?
because it's like they're like tonight's pretty much all you have.
Oh,
But no, it does forecast through September 29th. So that gives me hope that we're
okay.
still going to be around next week.
Sounds like it to me. My money's on the astrologers.
Well, and it's the Astro Twins, so
Oh, my
that's a
money's
good
definitely on
place
the Astros.
to place your bet. So it's from Mind Body Green. You know, Adele and I from one from sisters to another sister duo. We love some Astro Twins. They are right on. So as we mentioned at the top of the show, tomorrow, which is Saturday, it's the autumn equinox. So if you haven't already like put out your Halloweenies, I'm gonna need you to get moving right now. It's officially fall, y'all, as we say in South
It's
Carolina.
fall.
Um, so it's going to be about bringing balance, okay? And so we're going to have the start of the Libra season, and so really this whole next week is going to be about finding that balance. September 29th is going to be a full supermoon in Adele's favorite house, which is Aries. Which will remind us to advocate for ourselves instead of waiting for others to do it for us. I'm always a huge person to tell people advocate for yourself. So maybe remember that towards the end of next week. Don't be pushed around. You deserve to stand up for you. And so we'll see what kind of energy this full supermoon in Aries gives us. But just remember to stay balanced, friends. It's not a bad forecast to go out with. We've certainly had a horrible forecast. I feel like last week's was pretty. I feel like this past week wasn't as toxic and crazy as it's been
Yeah.
before. So maybe we're bringing some kind of shift, some calmness, some
I feel
calmer
like,
waters.
yeah, this time of year just kind of calms down anyway. Like the heat,
Yeah.
everything just kind of mellows out.
Yes, I think that the fall. I feel like everybody's ready. I think I've mentioned a million times. Like people actually beat me this year putting up their Halloweenies, and it just makes me so happy. I feel like people are just, they're just kind of ready for a new season. So I hope that it brings all the wonderful things. So I think everybody's just kind of looking for some peace and fun.
Yeah, for sure. I will be putting
Yes,
up Halloweenies this weekend, and I
you
have a
better.
great theme. It's gonna be so
Ah, is it a
fun.
surprise?
Well, if it works out, because if it looks like
Okay.
crap, I'm gonna do something else.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Wow, I
if
haven't really
it's
known you to do a theme before. Usually, like,
it,
we're just kind of everywhere.
I mean, I'm still gonna have random Halloweenies all over, but like in my yard in particular.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm really upset because, I do the floating witch hats on the front porch. I have this really great front porch. And I do these like the past, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, I've done like these floating witch hats. And the wind was so bad today, I lost two of them. I mean, I got them, they're in the yard, but only two remain hanging up. So I've got to work on that. Well, Mom and Stephen have to work on that because I'm obviously the visionary and they make it happen. And they
Hmm.
do such a good job, I might add.
That reminds me of other things too. Hmm.
Like this podcast.
I
Is
didn't
that what you're
say it.
trying
You
to
said
say?
it.
Oh man. Whatever. You guys are better at this stuff. I'm the vision.
Okay, you're like the project manager,
I'm the project manager of life.
and someday the accountant of Stormy Willow
Yeah. Yeah. One day,
when we're in the green.
listen, that's right. It's a labor of love, Stormy Willow is, let me tell you.
That's right.
Oh.
Well, do you remember what I finally landed on last week?
Listen, so I remember you landed on a cryptid first, and then you landed on an alien, and they're both your favorite. So you just kind of left it with you were going to do whatever you wanted. So
Yeah.
I have a feeling you probably went with an alien,
I
and I'm
did.
so glad you did because we might be meeting them in just a few hours. So I'm going to need you to really get us up to speed fast.
Oh, well, I got you on these.
Okay.
They actually tie in very nicely to your little news segment.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's a little too on the nose, actually. So we'll get into that. But
That's why Adele was quiet when she was
I
listening. She's
was
like,
like,
"Are you sure it's just TikTok?" So if you, so here's a funny like, and I digress. But here's a funny story about Adele. So Adele is always super calm. She's always very pulled together, has her shit together all the time. But Adele does not like inclement weather, and so when she was younger, there was like a tornado warning. Because in the South you get kind of wild weather. And so when Adele gets really quiet and then she'll start asking a million questions like, could that really happen? Is this the county? Is that a warning or is that a watch? Which one is different? Could that really happen? And she'll start, and that's when you know that that is her version of flipping out. Whereas when I flip out, it's a production. It's basically like a Broadway production. But when
yeah,
Adele gets quiet and then asks a million questions back to back, that's her cue that she's like, I'm freaking out.
that's literally me like calculating things.
Yeah.
Like,
And
how
so
bad of a situation is this about to
yeah,
be?
I kind of felt that when I was reading the story about tomorrow. You're like, but is it TikTok news? Is it real news? Is it verified? Did they say alien?
Mhm.
I picked up on your anxiety, your subtle
Yeah,
anxiety.
yeah. Um, we're gonna cover the reptilians today.
Let's do it. We might be beating them, so let's just do it.
Yeah,
Knowledge is
so
power, Adele.
that's true. I don't know if there's really any stopping this from happening, but let's just get into what the heck are the reptilians.
Yeah.
Now they are kind of popular currently and over the last couple of years. And we will get to that towards the tail end of the show as a hypothesis.
Okay.
Okay. So generally, oh, before I get into that, let me cite my sources. So thank you, Vox.com, of course, Wikipedia.org, and aliens.fandom.com, as well as The Guardian and Atlantic Magazine.
All right.
All right, so what are they? They're literally humanoid lizards, so they're like lizard people,
Yeah.
is kind of what you hear, I think, in
Well,
most pop culture
we've heard that a
references.
lot in the last decade.
Especially like, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah, we have.
Yeah, and we'll get all into that within reason, because then we can go
Okay.
down a whole nother rabbit hole. So yeah, these are literally supposed to be lizards disguised as humans. Like they almost have like a chameleon effect, and they're really just kind of a shapeshifter.
So basically, that song just comes in my head every time I hear it. Karma, 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 karma,
Karma chameleon.
chameleon.
Well, these guys might be into karma as well, so we'll get into that too.
Boy George, man,
Really
was trying to really warn us.
or enslave us all. We'll get to that. Not just Boy George,
Oh.
but all of these social elites.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, it's also like lizards. They're supposedly cold-blooded. And I kept seeing the statistic thrown around that roughly 12 million Americans believe that roughly 12 million Americans either believe or aren't sure if reptilians run the US government.
Well, that explains a lot.
So, I mean, while 12 million is a staggering number, keep in mind the US has 333 million.
So it's really not that much when you break it down.
When you really break it down, it's 4%, which is roughly half the size of the LGBTQ plus community.
Okay.
And we're already a pretty small community.
Yeah, all right. Okay,
So,
I'm with you. But I mean, the more I'm learning about the government, the more I might be on this theory. I don't know.
See, and
we'll see.
I'm glad we're covering this too, because I feel like the reptilians are mentioned a lot on TikTok, especially. But then you can get into the super paranoid kind of space whenever you get into some of these hypotheses.
Yeah.
So let's get into those hypotheses. I would say there are three main ones. Um, One is that they're extra dimensional. So this is different than interdimensional in that it's outside of our dimensions. It's not like the
Okay.
ability to go through dimensions, which kind of blows my mind.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
so extra dimensional in physics are proposed additional space or time dimensions beyond the 3+1 typical to our observable time. So the way space time works here is you have three dimensions, right? Uh, like length, width, height.
Right.
So three-dimensional world plus one dimension of time. Time's just one thing,
Okay.
right? Like we
That's
have,
really hard.
right. So they're saying they're like outside of that,
Okay.
which is kind of like, I would say, our boundaries as far as what we can perceive.
Like some like outer limit stuff.
Yeah, it's super trippy. So that's one theory. Another is they're descendants from dinosaurs who, like, most of the dinosaurs were leveled, and supposedly the huge, I guess, comet or some sort of cataclysmic event
Right.
that killed most of them. It's called the Cretaceous Paleogene extinction
Mm-hmm.
event.
Right.
Some theorize maybe if you survived and then they went underground, they
Okay.
started evolving just as alongside humans and became more intelligent. Maybe if they are tied to dinosaurs or reptilians, maybe they can camouflage themselves like a chameleon.
Like they can like come up of the earth and
yeah.
walk
So
among us, I guess.
that's kind of what they're saying. So maybe they disguise themselves as humans and they're able to kind of blend in with us, and they do this as a guise to feed on us and maybe eat us.
Okay. So it's kind of like a transformer, but they're a lizard in disguise.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So predator in disguise. But this whole shape-shifting concept kind of makes me think of skinwalkers and
Yeah.
a lot of
So why does
those other
everything come back
beings.
to skinwalkers?
So, and
Does
we'll
it mean that these have been around for
like forever.
ever?
I think that's what other theories allude to, that they've been here for a very, very long time.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay, and then the third theory is that they're extraterrestrials. Um, some believe they come from Thuban, which is also known as Alpha Draconis. It's a binary star system in the northern constellation of Draco. Um, that's just a little too cheesy and on the nose to me. Like Draco, like the dragon, and we have these reptile-looking aliens.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that no.
I
I mean,
mean,
it's a good story.
right?
It's
It's
a good
just,
story.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It just is too meh. Like, just we randomly named that constellation what it is. It means nothing to them, and they would. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
I,
following you.
I have trouble with that, but okay. Some believe they're extraterrestrials, which not so threatening, right? So this is where we start to get into the fringe of, I think, what most people are hearing in the buzz about, like QAnon,
Right.
reptilians who are actually like disguised as humans running the world,
Right.
and all that stuff. So I'm going to tread lightly on that topic. I want to try to keep it more to what the alien might be, but you kind of have to talk about this as a theory.
Absolutely, because I think it is something that's so, I mean, it's gotten very popular throughout the
Yeah.
years. So absolutely. Let's
All right.
dig into it.
So there we go. So, like, let's say that one fringe view of extraterrestrial is going to get into this stuff. But to understand, like, where we are currently, let's go back to the late 19th century in US. So Theosophy, which is a US religion, formed. It was mainly founded by a woman named Helena Blavatsky, and includes a lot of her writings as well. So it's in the vein of the Western esoteric movement. So it kind of blends a lot of that kind of, I don't know, almost Wiccan or esoteric kind of stuff along with
Right.
Hinduism and Buddhism.
Okay.
So it kind of blends a few things. Its kind of guiding principles are that there is an ancient world. There is a clandestine group of spiritual masters, and these masters have great wisdom and power, and they want to share their knowledge of this ancient religion. And they kind of started the process of sharing that ancient religion through Blavatsky's writings. Okay. If you were to Google like theosophy, I'll just share my screen. They do.
Okay, I was about to do it.
or you can do it.
No, whatever's easier.
But they do have a logo where I'm okay. It's kind of curious looking.
Yeah, I see like the snake.
Yeah, so if you do look at their
Is that a swastika?
Yeah, so they have a lot of religious icons all together. So it's like the Star of David, a swastika. It looks like a cross and a few other things.
Yeah.
And then the saying is there is no religion higher than truth. And then it's all kind of encircled by what looks like a snake.
Yeah.
Right? So you can kind of see where jump ahead to today where it's like, ooh, reptiles.
Yeah.
But really this was more of just, a new US religion that was just really taking on these ideas of this ancient world, ancient knowledge that we've lost, and we're trying to resurrect it, essentially. And then this notion kind of influenced a series of writers that get us to where we currently are. So I'm going to try to quickly go through them. So the next batter up we have is Robert E. Howard. He was the author of Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, now, okay.
Not from the 1980s movie, but actually August 1929.
Never mind. Had a TBS flashback.
I know. I was like, yes, that's all. The real original.
Oh, I was like, what? What do you mean that's not the original?
Yeah. So this was from 1929. He had a story called The Shadow Kingdom, and it was published in Weird Tales. And within this story, which by the way is fiction, it's a fiction story. It's this notion of lost worlds of like Atlantis, and there's one called Lemuria, and there are these serpent men who have human bodies but like snake heads and faces. Okay. So they're like secretly living underground, but they're shapeshifters that can come to the surface and kind of blend in with humans.
Okay.
These particular ones also have mind control in the story. And then you have Robert E. Howard and then H.P. Lovecraft. He's also starting to write a lot of stories. And then from this, you actually get Cthulhu myths, which we'll get to on a whole different topic. But like a lot of stuff on that, like there's a lot to be said about Cthulhu. So you can tell that these writers are very much influencing people at the time and even still. So let's see. Then that takes us to the 1940s. American occultist Maurice Doreal wrote Mysteries of the Gobi, and it was a pamphlet describing a similar serpent race, and these beings later appear in his poem, The Emerald Tablets. And the Emerald Tablets inspired David Icke's work.
Okay.
Now, David Icke is the one we want to talk about.
Okay.
This is, I would say, kind of the dark side of the extraterrestrial theory and kind of where we are today with what I would say is a cult.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying he's a cult leader or that he formed the cult, but I'm just saying that QAnon does believe like his hypotheses and conspiracy theory on what's really going on with the world.
Gotcha.
So I just want to kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, like not blame.
I'm not
throwing shade.
I'm not trying to throw shade at him. I don't really know much about him even after doing research there again, because I tried to keep it to the reptilians.
Right.
But I will say a little bit about him. his book, The Biggest Secret, was published in 1998. I think he's released around 11 books kind of on
Wow.
conspiracy theories. He actually lost his publisher, I think, after his third book because he started getting into there again. I haven't read any of his works, but some say that it was starting to be anti-Semitic.
Okay.
So I think that's where he starts to lose favor with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, he's an Englishman, a former footballer, aka
All
soccer
right.
for the
Yeah. Yeah.
US. And a sportscaster. He's also a New Age philosopher.
So he's a pretty like I didn't realize I really don't know anything about him. I didn't realize he already, he had like what a career, other than like a
Yeah.
footballer, sports announcer, like
Like he
wow,
kind of
like
makes
that's
me
a
think of
lot.
like Howie Mandel to us or somebody like that.
Yeah, it seems
You
like
know, somebody that
he's
you might have known play, and now they're a caster that you're familiar with.
right. Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really know anything about him. I
Same.
didn't even know he was tied to any of I've never heard of him until now.
Yeah, yeah. I just remember that name, and then I was like, "Oh wait," but I don't really know anything about him either. So,
Yeah. But yeah, so he's a new age philosopher and of course conspiracy theorist. So now let's get into his conspiracy. So if you've at all been alive or heard about what's happened like over, during the tail end of Trump's presidency, with the January 6th kind of rush on the Capitol, a lot of the members there, I'm not saying all of them necessarily were, but it's clear that there were ties to QAnon who believe the conspiracy that we're about to discuss.
all right.
All right, so the conspiracy, and this is super abbreviated. I mean, he has entire books on this, but I would say
Oh, I mean, it seems like you could like study this and do 10 million episodes just
yeah, I mean, yeah,
on
there are
it.
entire podcasts only on QAnon, and I don't even know if that's tying into his like David
Yeah,
Icke's writings. I mean, this is
it's hard to wrap your head around.
yeah. So this is why I took the easy route and stuck it on reptilians, and we're just gonna
Listen, just give us
steamroll
the
through
Cliff
this.
Notes.
That's what
Time
I'm
is
doing.
short. This could be our last podcast. Like,
Oh yeah, I gotta rush through this. We only have until midnight. All right, let me go faster. All right, the conspiracy, and this is where it's gonna get exciting about if anything does happen tonight. So the conspiracy is there are shape-shifting, blood-drinking reptilian aliens from Alpha Draconis star system living under Earth right
Okay.
now as we speak.
Okay.
They are called Archons, also known as the Anunnaki.
I've
And
heard that term.
the Anunnaki are ancient beings back to like I think Mesopotamia. It always goes back to like Babylon and all that stuff.
Always.
Yes, and I know the Anunnaki are mentioned on the History Channel's Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
Go into like a whole episode on this kind of stuff if you want to watch more with our guy with the fun hair and really white teeth.
He does have really white teeth.
Really white.
His teeth are on point.
But anyway, I'm just gonna stick with this route. So Archons are these beings that are from that star system. And they've been on Earth since ancient human history. So like they're not new. They've been here all along as we have, or potentially longer.
Okay.
Most of the world leaders, past and present, are related to reptilians. Now it also gets weirder, so let's keep going. Okay, these reptilians have engineered a race of shape-shifting Archon human hybrids called the Babylonian Brotherhood, aka the Illuminati, or the elite, quote
Okay.
unquote. This race lives among the socially elite and manipulates events, causing humans to live in a constant state of fear. And this is so the Archons can feed on our negative energy.
Okay. So that's what I was going to ask you. That's how they stay fed, is through conflict and fear.
Yes.
Okay.
They even name some of these reptilians as of course, good old late Queen Elizabeth, the royal family. Yeah, they say.
Yes, I've heard that. Yes.
Anyway, yeah, I feel like she's the most. I feel like they said that a lot. I feel like that was the first and the
Because of her
one.
name too. They're like, it's in the
It's
name.
Liz.
Obvious.
She's
Liz.
a lizard.
Come
Ugh.
on.
There again.
Like,
With that.
yeah.
It's like way too on the
I
nose.
feel like honestly, and I feel so disrespectful. I don't mean any disrespect, but when you said lizard people, that's the first thing I thought of was Queen Elizabeth, because that was such
Yeah.
a thing. Like when this kind of broke it, to mainstream, I guess. I feel like she was definitely the target for like she's like
A lizard.
a
Yeah.
lizard. Yeah. Yeah.
Um yeah, so not only her, but the entire royal family is supposedly lizard people. I don't think
I
that's in
mean,
Harry's book.
yeah, I was like, I did read Harry's book and there was not, there
He
wasn't
did
any
not
mention of
spill the tea
that.
about that.
He did not.
Um and the entire Bush family, including George W.
Hey,
I
I'm
knew you were
sorry.
gonna laugh when
I'm
I said that.
I'm really trying to be respectful, but yeah, okay. Yeah,
The Clintons, of course,
of course.
Barack Obama, all of the Obama, like pretty much all of
Pretty
the
much.
presidents.
Okay.
But they even say Bob Hope. And I'm like, what the flying hell does that have to do with
Bob Hope. I thought he tried to bring peace.
Yeah, and Mick Jagger, they're saying is supposedly
Did Bono
lizard.
make the list?
I don't know. I'm sure
He
somebody.
better not.
Actually, we're gonna go through how to identify one in a little bit,
Okay, so I'll be heartbroken.
so we can use Bono as an example.
We will. And I
Okay.
just want to remind you guys that my body is covered in YouTube tattoos. So don't break my heart.
Pick a year of Bono, like what, 1995 Bono? Or
Yeah,
like
let's do
Bono?
like a 1992 Bono.
Oh, 1992.
Yeah. Does
Okay.
that mess up things?
No, it's fine. We just need
this
this
is
picture in a
exciting.
moment to take a look.
Okay.
Oh, see, I can already see where this conspiracy, because he wears sunglasses a lot. Maybe he doesn't want you to see his eyes. Anyway, we'll get to that fun little test in a moment.
Oh my God. Okay.
But yeah, okay. But furthermore, he theorizes that the Babylonian Brotherhood is pushing humanity towards a fascist New World Order.
Oh God, not a New World Order. That just takes me straight to wrestling. And
I know. I even put NWO. I was like, I will know what that means.
I just can't get out of my 90s brain. Like when you said like whatever you said, what did you say? I said Conan. But
Conan the Barbarian.
I thought about TBS, New World Order. I'm like, well, now we're talking about wrestling. Like
TGIF.
Like,
oh
what?
my God. Yeah, it's all going full circle.
Okay, I'm gonna focus now. All right.
Oh, no, back. Yeah. So yeah, so essentially this New World Order, if not defeated by the WCW, they're our only hope. You Hulkamaniacs, we need you now. Anyway, this will essentially cause a post-truth era, and we'll completely lose our freedom of speech.
Oh,
yeah, and
right.
And oddly enough, not the WCW, which my money's on them. He believes the only way to defeat the Archons is for people to wake up to the truth and fill their hearts with love. Got to get rid of all the negativity for them to feed on.
Okay, I'm with you. But how is like calling someone a lizard and like blaming them of being a lizard creating love and not hate?
Yeah, I know. And
like,
everybody that I think of in the government who believes this are the very people who are pushing us towards a new world order of fascism.
Right. Like I can get down with, listen, I'm very woo-woo. It's not a surprise. I could get down with, you know what? Let's put out the love and the peace and all the things. But it's like, I mean, accusing people of being a lizard and like going after them, like we saw with it. And again, like we're not saying that everyone that stormed the Capitol believe that, but a majority of them did. And it's like they seem to be some of the most hateful people. So it just seems like it kind of contradicts
Yeah,
that statement.
absolutely. Um, yeah, that's it for the conspiracy. I just wanted to confirm, yes, it is like the QAnon folks that like believe this conspiracy. Yes, they are linked to the January 6th
Okay,
storming
I
of the
thought so.
Capitol in 2021. And critics have accused it of being anti-Semitic and a Holocaust denier. So there again,
What?
I haven't seen anything where you said that,
Right.
but I
Wow.
find it a little bit horrifying that Ick's conspiracy theories have supporters in up to 47 countries, and he gives lectures with crowds up to 6,000 people. Um, I don't know. Obviously, it doesn't take that many people to cause a mess if you scare them
Yeah.
enough.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's like, you wonder like where did it maybe originate with love and then it just got misconstrued? And if that's the case, why didn't he just pull the plug on it, and just be, oh,
Yeah.
whoa, this is not what the message I'm trying to send or whatever. But it just, and again, I'm not familiar with this guy. I don't know all the things. I know very surface level stuff. And I'm not trying to pass judgment, but it just seems like most of what you see with that group of followers, it's dangerous and it's hate. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not lizard people, it's straight up human beings being hateful.
I think one of the things that concerned me, I promise we'll get to Bono in a moment. Um, but yeah, whenever I was on the Atlantic, which this is what we're going to use to identify reptilians, but they had some quotes from Ick, and I don't know if I can find them, but some of them alarmed me just because it sounded like the types of responses to things that you kind of heard from the witch trials. It's like a
That's
constant,
scary.
ever evolving. Oh, now you're a lizard. Oh, you're in the process of becoming a lizard, kind of stuff. And that's the dangerous part, right? Anytime a group or a person is essentially trying to get you to dehumanize your perceived enemy, that's very dangerous.
It is. And you
So
see how people, like, especially with the witch trials, how it was fear, and you see a lot of similarities, and it's very, very scary.
yeah, like at one point he starts talking about compatible bloodlines,
What?
and
That's
unless they
very,
even if a person has compatible bloodlines, quote, they will not become a reptilian unless a reptilian entity inhabits their physical body. So that's the kind of stuff that I think is a little
I
bit
don't like that.
dangerous, because then you're completely saying that like that person's not human, and then
I don't like that. I don't like that at
um
all. That gives me very, that gives me very bad vibes.
oh yeah, I get super bad vibes from his website as well. This is definitely a cult.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Be
just
careful.
horrified at what I think is unique about this cult is one, like a lot of it's on the internet now, right? Like I feel like in the 90s, like David Koresh, all those folks, like you still went in person, right, to like a compound, but like a lot of this stuff's like internet based.
Yeah,
Um,
it's,
so it has a
oof.
huge reach, and it's just kind of different. Like I don't really know what the end game is, but if past behavior is indicative of future behavior, all of these cults ended horribly for the members. So just be careful what you're listening to, people.
Absolutely.
Um, but let's have a little bit of fun with this. So, how to spot a lizard person.
Okay.
All right, so according to the Atlantic, I think they were having a little bit of fun with this, essentially saying like, "Ooh, all these internet sleuths, they're doing really, sophisticated analysis of looking at images on the internet and saying these people are lizards."
You're a
Um,
lizard.
so let's play a little game, and
Okay,
we'll
let's do
look
it.
at Bono, and
Okay.
we'll decide, is Bono a lizard?
Sarah says absolutely not.
All right, so let me share my screen.
I don't need the evidence.
I thought you were about to say, I don't need the image. I know what he looks like. Okay, here's Bono.
Okay.
And it didn't say like if you check them all, check some of them. So I don't know
Okay, like how many checks we have
how
to
many
have.
checks we have to have for him to
Okay.
be a lizard. All right, so
Okay.
number 1.
Okay.
Predominance of green or hazel eyes that change color like a chameleon, but also blue eyes.
That's pretty much every eye color.
Well,
Check.
he has blue eyes. Pretty much if you don't have brown eyes. Okay, so check. Piercing eyes.
Check.
Check. True red or reddish hair. That's a no. Unless he dyes it. I
Yeah.
don't think he does. Okay. All right. A sense of not belonging to the human race.
No, he definitely
think
belongs
so.
to the human race.
Low blood pressure.
He does have glaucoma. That's actually why he wears sunglasses.
Oh,
That's the truth.
does that affect your blood pressure?
I don't know. Does it?
I have no idea. It seems like he probably doesn't have high blood pressure. I'm gonna say it's average. So we're gonna say no.
Okay.
Deep compassion for fate of mankind.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
100%.
Keen sight or hearing. So it sounds
Well,
like maybe no. What about 1992? Maybe
Well, I mean, like he had to just look through those shades for the picture of the glare. So I'm gonna say no.
no. All right, then that's a no. Psychic abilities
Not sure. I mean, he hadn't gotten any of my messages, so I'm gonna say no.
or ESP. We're not sure.
Not sure.
Unexplained scars. I don't know.
I don't know.
UFO connections.
I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of.
I think you would know.
I would know.
Capability to disrupt electrical appliances.
I would say no.
I don't think so. He doesn't.
I mean,
seem
I've
to
seen him in
be, like-
concert twice, and like we didn't have any electrical issues.
Okay, so we're gonna say no. Love of space and science.
Yeah.
Sure, I mean, but who doesn't?
Yeah.
And alien contacts. I don't know. Okay,
Not
so
that I'm aware of.
well, he got 3 points out of that list, but I don't know. It's quite a list. Okay, I think Bono is not a lizard.
Yeah, Bono is not a lizard.
All right, so you can mark one person off your list.
Yeah. But I love this list though. I was like, if your eyes change or they're blue, like you said, like pretty much if you don't have brown eyes, check. Like, what is that?
Yeah, like what does that have to do with anything? That's really it. I couldn't find any actual encounters other than one brief one that was mentioned that supposedly a cop in Nebraska in
Oh, God.
1967 it went under hypnosis and recalled being abducted by a UFO, which might have been reptilian in nature, but a lot of people claim it to be a hoax or false memory or something. So I don't know of anybody who's actually encountered a reptilian. I do see a lot on TikTok of supposed people being reptilians. I think one was even like Justin Bieber. There were people posting and saying that like he turned into a black and white lizard in the middle of his concert, like really fast for a few seconds, but conveniently that was caught by nobody on camera out of I'm sure the thousands of people recording him performing.
That was just to try to get some ticket sales.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's like I'm serious, so many of these.
Yeah.
Like on TikTok, people showing like, oh, look at their eyes really closely. They're slanted, which that wasn't even on our checklist. There's all sorts of wackadoodle things out there now.
But you know, and this is kind of going back to the witch trials. You know, I love witches and everything, and I think you can learn a lot. But you know, it's kind of like the same thing, right? Like, oh, this person, a lot of women that were older, not married, didn't have children. You know, they started like making these lists, right? Like, oh, well, she's obviously a witch. You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like this is very much the same thing that we're doing to people. And it's very cringeworthy and it's very scary. I mean, and it's like, yeah, like, we've had fun and we laugh and we're like, oh, you're a lizard person. But when you get down to the nitty gritty, this is not good. This is not a good
Yeah,
thing
it
at
is
all.
dangerous.
It's
Like,
very
yeah.
dangerous.
Um, yeah. I mean, there again, I try not to get too into QAnon specifically, but I don't know. I just wanted to at least let everybody know what the conspiracy at the core of it actually is, since it is tied
Right.
to reptilians. But I don't know. I don't believe that theory. I don't believe they exist at all, personally.
Yeah.
If I did believe them at all, I actually kind of like the notion that maybe it's some fringe survivors from the cataclysmic,
Yeah.
event that ended the
Yeah.
dinosaurs. I think that makes the most sense and kind of ties more into what I probably think about most cryptids.
Very true.
And that they're
I
either
have
from
to,
time period that we thought they were extinct or they've been living alongside us all the time. We're just now seeing them.
yeah, I agree. I have to agree with you completely on that. Like I lean more into that camp. Like if they are real, I think I like that theory, and it makes much more sense to me that it was like they somehow survived the whole dinosaur extinction, and like you said, like maybe they have been living underground or whatever. But I just this notion of calling people lizards and saying they're taking over, like I know
Yeah.
it makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, so just be careful what you're listening to out there, folks. Just remember, put on your logical thinking cap and check secondary sources.
That's right.
And if
And
it seems
also,
off, it probably is off.
yeah. And and just be careful about where you're getting your information from as
Yes.
well. And just use good common sense out there. And I think anything that leads you to hate a certain group of people, just
Or to
watch
not
that.
think other humans are humans. Like,
Yeah,
really think about that.
I agree. Like I think it can, and I get it. Sometimes I think we want to have a reason why people act the
Oh
way they
yeah.
do, and we want to put it in a box like, oh, well, that's why, like, because we can't imagine how horrible humans can be. Um, but humans can be really, really terrible.
Hmm. They sure can. Also, I was looking at timelines and just dinosaurs I think are fascinating anyway. I mean, because while I don't know, at least with the abbreviated history I guess we learned in school, I
Yeah.
always just felt like they were here for such a brief time, but they were here for so long. Like they
Oh
evolved while
yeah.
they were here. They were on Earth for 165 million years.
That's crazy, isn't
I mean,
it?
the closest earliest form of hominin that humans are related to are from 7 million years ago. 7 to 165.
It's kind of crazy.
But then this is where I started going kind of in circles, like 165 million years. Look how fastly we've evolved in seven. Why the dinosaurs not do it? And then it kind of can
Yeah.
mess with you, though. I think that's the danger of this conspiracy because it's like, are humans actually from here? Were we planted here way after? Like, why is it within 165 million years they weren't driving cars and having Bluetooth? Um, which I don't know. I think that's one of the fun mysteries of the timeline of everything on Earth. We,
Right.
archaeologists do the best they can. Obviously, theories change, so that's why I like this stuff. I think it's all somehow linked to the actual truth, and we're just missing pieces of it or don't have all the puzzles yet.
Yeah. And I think we weren't really meant to, we may never know. I think that's why we love doing this. That's why I know I really love doing the paranormal, because not everything fits in a box and not all pieces fit into the puzzle. And
Yeah,
I like those. I like to explore those pieces that don't. And
yeah,
but yeah, like you can though go into some really trippy stuff where you're like, it's just absolutely mind blowing, and you're like, okay, I got to get back to something else because it will really
yeah.
send you down a rabbit hole,
I
which is
think
I think could
yeah.
be what happened with people that are in QAnon.
I mean, and it couldn't be more of a perfect scapegoat, I suppose. Um,
Yeah,
especially if you think it is all the influential people in society and they're kind of planted there. I mean, it
Yeah,
can
of
really drive
course.
you
It
bananas.
can. Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll put a hotline or like an email or something you can contact if you feel like maybe you're sliding into a dangerous space with some of these
Yeah,
conspiracies
I
out there.
agree. Because,
Um,
I think sometimes that's the kind of we've been in a really weird headspace the past several years. And I think it's really easy to get into something like that. Probably now more so ever, especially with a lot of the alienation that we, had during the pandemic and, still trying to figure out what this pandemic is. A lot of people think that's a conspiracy too. And
yeah.
we're going through things that we haven't really had to experience before. So it's very easy um to, kind of get into these things. So yeah, I think that would be a good idea if you think that, hey, that could be me. Or somebody
Yeah.
you love. Because, I've and that's why We Drink did an episode like this. But they really I think M did like a really deep dive into QAnon, like what that was, all of that was going on. And a lot of people were talking about, how their families had shifted because like one person really got into it and they ended up like hating their whole family and alienating themselves from their family. And so
Yeah.
it can be, and not just QAnon, but any kind of cult
Cult
or
or
group.
extreme religion.
Yeah, alienates you away from people you love. And if you're one of those people that love someone like that, maybe there is a good support line or something to help with that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It just it can take you to a very dangerous place.
Of
I
course.
don't know. I always notice too on TikTok, and maybe it's just my feed. I'm not saying anything bad about TikTok. I actually really enjoy TikTok. But sometimes if just on certain days, I'm like, God, all of these are making me paranoid and like
Yeah.
conspiracy-ish, like, and I have to just stop. So I don't know. Be sure to like come
Sometimes
up
just
for
walk
air,
away.
take a
Yeah.
breath, see things in reality for a minute.
Yeah. Look at like funny puppy videos or something.
Yeah, take a walk outside.
Well, that's why I have to start reading now again because I was like, and I do too. Like, I enjoy TikTok as well, but sometimes my feed does get inundated, like with the ending of the world and things like that. And I have to like, Sarah, put this away, pick up your fiction book, and just read, or because it can
Yeah.
definitely send you spiraling. Uh, so judgment free zone here, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to consider all of these ideas, which is what we try to do on the show. It's just, okay, let's just consider that. You don't have to go that next step and believe it.
That's right.
So,
That is exactly, the one thing I did want to say too that kind of struck me whenever you were talking about Ix books, like how they started. I feel like the Bible you could kind of compare the same way, right? It's like it's very much a fiction book as well. And look how people have made that into reality to hate and do the same sorts of things. So I think it's very much a very similar thing.
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you
Just
can
the
use any tool towards,
really just the
hate.
danger of anybody telling you that they have it all figured out and their way is the right way. Run away.
Yeah. Unless it's an alien and I say, let's just give them a shot. I mean,
Maybe.
maybe. I don't know.
We'll
We'll
see.
see.
We'll see.
We'll
Well, I don't
see.
know. We're a few hours into
I'll give you guys a call. I'm gonna give you a call at midnight and tell you.
it. Okay.
I'm gonna take one for you and for the brood. You're welcome. Well, honestly, I'm completely safe because mom lives down the street. So if any shenanigans go on,
That's
whew,
true.
mama will be like, no.
She'll whoop our arse.
Yes, she will.
Yeah. So, shall we see what kind of crazy shit we're going to talk about next week if we're all
Yeah,
still here?
yeah. Well, let's go ahead and plan, and I won't research anything until after tomorrow.
Oh, yeah,
But
that's the
I
way
don't
I
want
would
to
do it.
waste, my last few hours.
All right. You can see the screen this time, right?
I can see the screen this time.
All right. Ooh.
I do love a good possession.
Possession. You keep getting all the spooky, ghosty stuff.
Listen, that's just who I am. I'm a spooky girl.
All right. Well, yeah. Put possession back on there for this role. I have some
Right.
rotating topics, so you guys don't know what's coming your way.
You have no idea what's coming your way. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess none of us do, really.
Yeah, I just changed the show on the fly like that. Don't tell anybody.
but yet you're like, Sarah's the brains and I have to do everything, and you just change the show. Don't
Yeah,
even consult me.
I know. So there we go.
Adele, thank you for that story. It was a good one. It was really good.
Yeah, I thought it was very well. That's really weird about tonight, though.
I know. We hadn't talked. We never know what the other person's going to cover, and
But
so
but you see, though, this type of conspiracy, this is like such a great example on why the way it's set up, it always confirms itself because either something will happen at midnight tonight, or these people are in the Babylonian Brotherhood and they're just trying to stir up everybody and make them scared so they can feed. Like, all the
which
people
one is
saying
it?
these things or making you find those breadcrumbs to alert you and make you worried, right? So I don't know. That's how sinister I think a lot of these cults and extreme religions are.
It's true.
So
Like look how many followers we got. Yeah. Well, really, what it is, they're probably just trying to. They're probably Emma Chin Baker trying to sell you some doomsday buckets.
totally. Or some like prayer water.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it probably really is.
Oh,
I knew it was going to be tied to Jim or one of those. And I haven't watched it, but I have to. The Righteous Gemstones. It looks really funny, like where they it's like a spoof of like these Christian people like that.
oh, okay.
And it looks like it's really funny. But I think like they are also trying to sell like doomsday stuff and get people like
I
scared to
like
death.
prayer cloths.
Yes.
How many times? But I won't go into our escaping a cult. Essentially,
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's why this is so good for us to talk about, because we actually not only are what is it, we're also survivors.
we've been there, done that.
We've been there, done that. So if you have a question, if you're in a cult, we can spot it. We know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, as we stay here at our podcast, stay safe out there, you guys.
And stay curious.
And never trust the living.
The wizards. I mean, living.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Bye, you guys.
Bye. No, wait. I wanted to start saying later, taters.
Later, taters.